This is rental car number 37, and today I'm driving the 2017 Toyota Corolla LE. This car is in the Falcon gray metallic color, which I actually like quite a bit. It also has a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder engine, which gets you about 132 horsepower, and an impressive 28 miles per gallon in the city and 36 on the highway. The MSRP on this car is about $19,000, which I think is pretty good because you do get some pretty impressive safety features in this car that I'll go over a little bit later. The critics have been a little bit mixed. Edmunds gave it a 3.8 out of 5, US News and Reports gave it an 8 out of 10, and Car and Driver only gave this car a 3 out of 5. Let's start by taking a look at the trunk space. This is actually a nice sized storage area. The wheel wells don't push in too far, so you do get a nice big square space to store things. And the rear seats do fold down, so you can push things all the way through into the cabin of the vehicle. Not very exciting, and neither is the back seat, though it is a decent size. Here's what it looks like. This is the gray cloth interior, and you notice that it's sort of a two-toned color, which I'm not a huge fan of. I think it kind of makes things stick out a little too much. Now there is an armrest that folds down in the center seat right here, though I noticed that it kind of collapses a little bit, so it's very difficult to rest your arm here. I'm also a little disappointed in the car seat anchors. They're buried pretty deep back there, so hooking up your car seat is going to be a huge pain in the butt. You're going to have to sort of push and pull to get access to these anchors. On a more positive note, the legroom back here is actually really nice. I have the seats in the front pushed back a fairly good ways, and I still have about 6 to 8 inches of legroom. And that's pretty good considering I'm over 6 feet tall. So not much to really report about the trunk and the back seat. So let's jump in the front and take a look at all the features that come with the Corolla LE. Toyota has done a nice refresh of this vehicle, so I'm not sure you can see it in this shot, but they do have a really nice center console on this car with a pretty big touchscreen. Now the LE does not come with a push-button start. Instead, you get Toyota's standard key with the buttons built right into it. It's a nice key, but in my opinion, it's a little bit light. I would like a little bit more weight to it. But it does work fairly well. I don't know if you can notice, but there are already a lot of scratches down here on the interior by the ignition, which is kind of concerning to see. The steering wheel on this car feels really nice in the hands. It has some extra padding on it, which makes it look pretty comfortable. And there are a series of buttons on the left and right side to help you interact with the car. All the buttons feel really nice. You also get a pretty nice gauge cluster with a nice digital screen in the center. I found these really easy to view in both day and nighttime driving, and although the center display doesn't have any colors, it's also pretty easy to view as you're driving down the road. I played with the menus in the center console center display quite a bit, and I found that there's some pretty interesting settings that have been turned off. The two that I played with the most were the dynamic cruise control and the lane alert system. And I'll show you a video of that in just a few minutes. What I want to mention here is that they were very easy to get to and super easy to turn on and off. I mean, I didn't even have to look at the manual to figure everything out. I was also really impressed with the entire center console, especially considering this is only a $19,000 car. First up top, you have a digital clock, and I love that Toyota has included just simple buttons to change the time. I really love this. On most of the other vehicles I've been driving lately, you do have to go through the touchscreen and navigate to a menu before you can change the clock. And speaking of the touchscreen, I really like how Toyota has designed this. If you'll notice, there's a big rectangle around the touchscreen, which gives it the impression of being a very large screen. But actually, it's a smaller screen with just a series of buttons on the left and the right-hand side. I like this because it feels really clean and sleek, but you still have a decent-sized touchscreen that you can interact with. I messed around with the touchscreen quite a bit. Now, there's not a ton of features here, but everything is really easy to get to. I found the menus to be pretty intuitive, and nothing is buried by more than 1 or 2 pushes, so you can typically get to what you need to within 1 or 2 taps. And then directly below the touchscreen are the climate controls, and I'm a big fan of these. I love that there's digital readouts right here so you know exactly what temperature is. And then there are some really nice switches right here that you can adjust up and down to adjust the temperature, the fan, and even the direction the vents are blowing. I really like that this is all a dedicated space down here and that you don't have to go through the touchscreen to adjust any of the climate controls. And then directly below the climate controls, you do get a USB in, audio out, and then a power adapter right here. This whole area is just okay. I noticed that the storage space for my cell phone is a little bit small and gets in the way of the gear shift, and that the covers on the power and USB outlets are a little bit flimsy, and I'm guessing they're going to fall apart pretty quickly. But moving back from the center console, you do get a standard hand parking brake, which is, no big deal. 2 cup holders that I found to be not a great place to store my cell phone, and then a decent size storage area under the center armrest. And then shifting over to the glove box, this isn't really that exciting, but I do want to mention that it's a decent size in here. Toyota typically has a pretty large glove box. I found that you can store quite a bit of stuff back here, a lot more than just your registration and your owner's manual. Above the center console, there's not much, no sunglass holder, just 2 pretty easy to use lights, and then your standard rear view mirror. And then even though this car comes with a lot of really nice safety features, there are not blindside detection indicators on the side view mirrors. I was actually kind of shocked by this, because Toyota is usually at the cutting edge of safety technology, but they left this feature out. Let's close things out by talking about those safety features that I've been mentioning over and over again, and just sort of driving this car in general. I drove this car for over 2 days. I put about 150, 160 miles on it, and I really liked driving it. It hugs the road really nicely, accelerates pretty smoothly, and all in all, I found it to have a very comfortable drive. I really did play with these safety features quite a bit. First, let's talk about what Toyota calls the Lane Departure Alert System with Steering Assist. If you look at the digital screen between the gauge cluster, you'll see that it pops up with an alert each time you drift out of your lane. And the car actually will push you real gently back into your lane. I use this a lot. If you aggressively go out of your lane, it's not going to push you back. But if you just gently take your hands off the steering wheel and just drift ever so slightly out of your lane, it will push you back with some pretty nice consistency. The other feature I played around a lot with is the dynamic radar cruise control. Essentially what this means is that you can set a setting on this center display right here as to how far you want to be from the car in front of you when you're on cruise control. So I set it at the maximum distance, which is about, I'd say maybe 200 or 300 yards. And every time the car in front of me slowed down, the Corolla matched the speed of that car. It's actually fantastic when you have something in cruise control because you don't have to constantly hit the brake pedal or the cancel feature on cruise. I cannot say enough about these safety features. I really did like them quite a bit. And even in just 2 days, I began to sort of rely on them a little bit, which is good because I think a car should help you drive safely. All right, so that's my take on the 2017 Toyota Corolla LE. After 2 days and about 160 miles, I give this car 4 stars. For under $20,000, you get a ton of great features in the Toyota Corolla, and I really think you should give this car a shot. Take it out for a test drive if you're in the market for a new sedan. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you join me next time when I review yet another rental car.